Hello, hello. So I am here to talk about a couple different things, one of them being lavender essential oil. If you have not experienced lavender essential oil, let me just tell you, you may have an experience where you're smelling it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful, I love it. Or you could have an experience like I share in my book, Bye Bye Normal, Hello Exceptional, Living a Life of Less Stress, that you may inhale this oil and you be like, oh my gosh, this stinks. Okay. It's okay. It's okay whether you love it or you hate it. It's okay. I just want you to know. But what I'm going to share today is how we can use an essential oil to release an emotional pattern that we may have kind of stuck in our body. All right. So this is the book that I've been using for years. It's called Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils by Dr. Carolyn Mine. This is actually her 25th year of having this book. I have had, not this exact book because this is a brand new one, but mine since 2012. So over 10 years, I have been using a book just like this. And I've been using this technique to help me release emotions that I have stored in my body. All right. Now you might be like, I don't understand. What does that mean? Storing emotions in our body? Well, emotions are energy in motion. And it should be that we feel it and then we let it go. Okay. But sometimes we don't really do a good job of feeling the emotion, or we don't have time to feel it right now, right? And so we just push it down and it gets stuck somewhere, and that affects our energy flow. And it can even cause, what research shows y'all, is it can cause dis-ease or disease. There are some believe that it even can be part of the reason why some people have cancer. All right. And so I don't want to be holding on to emotions that are not moving around and that are stuck in my tissues. So one of the things that we can do is use an oil to help us release. Okay. Again, this is called Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. So if you look up in this book, okay, lavender, one of the very first emotions in the book happens to be with lavender essential oil. It's the fear of abandonment. Now, we're not going to get into a big thing right this moment about abandonment, but I just want you to know that most of us, if we're human and we're having a human experience here on earth, have experienced some form of abandonment at some time or another, whether it was truly abandonment or just our bodies felt that way. So I want you to think of a small child, like they may not have really been abandoned, but they had an experience of feeling abandoned when maybe they were left somewhere, and they were safe and they were protected and everything was okay, but they were disconnected from someone they loved and they felt abandoned, all the way to somebody that's truly abandoned, left, and never see either a parent or never see a loved one, that type of abandonment. So I want you to know that there are all kinds of forms of abandonment. This is not a time to go, well, is that true abandonment? It doesn't matter. If you have felt like you were abandoned at any time, you could be holding on to that emotion. And that emotion is held in our small intestine, which the location, the alarm point that it shows in the book is just above your belly button. So kind of around your waist, that you would just kind of swipe from right to left on that area. Okay. So I'm going to take my lavender essential oil. And the first thing I want to do is I just want to put a drop in my hand. So I've got a drop of lavender in my hand. And then I'm going to just take a moment to inhale that in. I want to breathe it in. And as I breathe it in, I really want my body to allow that to come in. I want my belly to expand. Okay. This is going up into my limbic system. This is my emotional center, where the emotions kind of get started and then they go throughout our body, energy and motion. All right. And I just want to take a moment to think about maybe a time that I felt abandoned, or I was afraid that I was going to be abandoned. Maybe you've even had a nightmare before, like that you were going to be abandoned. I want you to remember for just a moment what that felt like. Okay. And if you don't have a memory or you can't really connect with that, it's okay. All right. I want you to just maybe take a moment to imagine what that would feel like to be abandoned. Now, in the book, it shares the other side, and sometimes we don't necessarily understand, but the other side is at one-ment. That's, when we're at one with someone, right? What I want you to realize is even if you have been abandoned in the past and you're holding on to that feeling, that emotion, it's time to allow ourselves to feel so that we can heal. And we want to move to the other side. And so the first time I heard Dr. Carolyn Mine speak, she talked about a bridge, and she talked about how one emotion is on one side of the bridge and the other emotion, the other side, is on the other side of the bridge. All right. So I want you to imagine for just a moment that you are on the side of abandonment and you want to move to the side of the bridge, across the bridge to at one-ment. What would it feel like to be at one? For me, I always like to picture on the other side Jesus. That's my safe place. That is who I want to walk to. And that's who I feel like I can be at one with. And so I want you to imagine what that would be like. You can visualize, you can put somebody else in that place, whatever works for you. But I want you to imagine as you're breathing in the oil, what it's like to take a step, maybe just one step, away from abandonment and towards at one-ment. Okay. Now, she also shares a way out. And this is scripturally that, like in the Bible, it talks about that we will always be given a way out. And some people call this an affirmation because we're affirming the direction we want to go. So I know that I want to cross the bridge. I want to go from the fear of abandonment. I want to move towards at one-ment. I may get across the bridge during the time that I take right now. It may take me doing this multiple times to actually make it all the way across the bridge to this new emotion that's more renewing instead of depleting of at one-ment. And so I'm going to say that affirmation. And that affirmation is, I embrace all of life's experiences. All right. That means I'm embracing those moments, those circumstances when I may have felt abandoned. Okay. And so I'm allowing myself to embrace all of life experiences, the good experiences and the not so good experiences. All right. So I embrace all of life's experiences. Sometimes people ask, how many times do I need to say that? For me, it's about 3 times. I usually need to say it to kind of start believing it at least 3 times. I embrace all of life's experiences. I embrace all of life's experiences. One way I know when I'm starting to make that change is I felt this deep sense of a yawn, like I just needed to let it go. Okay. That's a good sign. Just letting you know that's a good sign. Now, we can also go to the specific alarm point, like I said earlier, which is our small intestine. We can take that oil and we can wipe across our waist. Okay. So across our waist, right above the belly button to that location to remind, I look at kind of anointing. I'm reminding that area, hey, you've been holding on to this fear of abandonment for a while now. It's time to let it go. We're going to walk across the bridge. I'm going to embrace all of life's experiences and I'm going to let go of that fear of abandonment. And I'm going to move towards something better, something more renewing, something that's going to help serve me, which is at one-ment. All right. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments. I am here for you. I'm happy to explain. And if you don't have this book, you can order it online. It is one of my favorite resources. I don't know what I would do without this resource to really help me when I'm feeling an emotion that I'm not really sure what to do with. All right. Have a great day. Bye.